Hello, good day all. Greetings, good rising, family, friends, tribesmans. Let's just make sure we're set up. I get my volumes right. Presenting. Right, Joe, I think we've cracked it. Just give me a minute to set up. And we will get on with today's presentation. Just getting my other handset on, my screen's ready, my paperwork. I'm just checking what you can see in here. I haven't shared this. This is a bit of work that I've taken today off out of tradesman to present this. Right, that sounds good. Picture looks good. Getting messages and we're getting questions, concerns about the development, public to private, how you do that, what it entails, the thesis behind it, the implementation of the instrumentation. I've got a lot of tabs open up here. Admittedly, Wikipedia, there's not a lot of substance over the form that I can find for you there. And I am happy to look at the creditor, debtor, secured party, going into public, private, ultimately where you'd end up being obligations, contract, civil and criminal, public law versus private law, the structure of government within that. Okay, this relationship that we're in, settler, trustee, beneficiary, the property constructed. We're going to look at Matthew 22 and 15 to 22 in there. When I say Matthew, chapter, verse, 22, we're going to look at 15 going on to 22, but focusing on 15 to 17. I'm going to look at the eightfold path of the Buddhists for you, touch upon that. Wisdom, Mother Nature, natural law. Mark Pazio has inspired this little push, actually, and the impending Holy Communion of myself and Anne Marie, the man and the woman joining in holy matrimony or thereabouts, comparable to. Okay, so that's an agreement, a covenant, a contract, a pact. Covenant ultimately. Wisdom, Mother Nature, Proverbs 9, 191, mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Those are the Hermetic principles from the Mander Thoth, Buddha, and the other such names, Hermes Trismegistus. Also, scribes, Famaland, if you'd like to look at the 42 principles of Mart, M-A apostrophe A-T. Okay, 42 principles of Mart. These are exciting to say the least. We might touch upon separation of power, checks and balances with reference to the legislative branch of government, executive branches and the judicial branches, that being the Supreme Royal Courts of Justice, and then obviously international. Further to that, positive law, natural law, the Constitution, lemon flavored, legislative, executive, and judicial. Americans, Canadians, Australians, just bear with us because we are of the English, Wales, Anglo, Britannia, United Kingdom, government of the monarchy and everything here, so it translates a bit different to what you might be expecting. So what can you see on my screen share here? You can see public and private, can you not? Natural law, underneath public and private, at the top in the middle for the title. Let's see if we can enlarge that. Let me just, here we go. All right, for those that I always get told to make it as big as possible for you, we'll blow it up. No, we won't blow it up, we'll enlarge it. Caesar, we're going to touch on Caesar. Rome, Club of Rome, go home. That's still maintained strong. And why we're going to do that, because it's a parallel that runs throughout the progression of our education. So this video is a taster, a toe dipped into the pool of the private side, and the avenues of which we will take you on your mastery of the law and your realm, of yourself, of your free will, of your family, property, lots and lots, clean hands, honor, estates, reputations, many things here. So this is going to be the ongoing coursework of the masters. Sovereign key competence has been done. The masters key competence, sovereign, coursework, educational packs, PDFs and Word documents have been distributed, and you're on with them. So that's free. That's your key competence, what you must have. Every man is obliged under the natural law system to to have certain fundamental rights. And if you don't know you have any rights, and it's our job at splspro.com to ensure that you are aware and informed duly of your rights, so you can make an informed decision, not a biased, underhanded, non-disclosed, deceptive, legal trustee, benefit to the government decision, of which often renders you receiving fines, fees, forfeitures, losing property, titles, and then offshore, inland pirates, offshore tax havens, in the seas of paparazzia, the sea of paper rats, from the Papa himself, the Papa rats of the sea, the papal seas, the Francis d'Assisi, the Leiden bulla, the bulla papilla, the hermetic principles, the gold bullion, and the oval offices, the phallic symbols. The currencies, this is where it comes to the piracies, the pirates of the seas working close in hand with the paparazzis. Well, here we come. Bank holiday Monday. What did I see now? Jeremy Vine on a program there talking about property, sons and daughters not being able to leave what now? This is public, all right. Private, check your private. Oxford, Cambridge, Eton, Harvard. Your private funded educational indoctrination trusts and academies allow time out of term for holidays in the private sector, business of education, and the academy schools there. Check it out, don't take my word for it. And the public ones, the general public, the military combatants, of which you have given away the title under these non-disclosed constructed statutory trusts there. And I've got diagrams for you, don't worry. I'm going fast, but you can slow me down, and you can watch the replay, pause it, and look at diagrams in a bit. So don't worry about having to keep up with me. I'm just splashing down for you. Jeremy Vine, Bank Holiday Monday, talking about knowing that parents, mums and dads, legal trustees will be off, fixated on the screen, hungover, in a lower vibratory state, and you've got a mainstream channel there, terrestrial channel, broadcasting across the seas of the frequencies. Yes, there we go. And you've got this message coming out that if you take your child out of asset, at ease here, at your peril, beryl, you speak in that legalese business, and you take your daughter or son out of the campus, public campus, and you will face a fine. Repeat offenders will be looked into, and further sanctions, benefits, fees, and fines to you will be served. The legal trustee there for taking out in the non-prescribed times the asset, the child, for holiday. You can only go in the 6 weeks holidays, and you've got there Mr. Vine, we'll call him, saying, what do we think to the panel? I won't say who was on the panel or what the call-ins were, but some agreeing, some not agreeing. Isle of Man is the worst offending landmass for the size of the landmass. How many are taken out in the prescribed times and non-prescribed times, receiving fines there. Your choice. Your son, your daughter, your right, your private property. This is what we're doing today. It blew my lid. Okay. I want to marry the Empress, Queen Anna Maria, and I want to do it honorably. I've made my common law agreements and affixed, our contractual obligations under the divine, creator. And I'm now looking at how we would, get recognition of the public, the state, public, same thing, and be recognized not just under the supreme being, creator, big G, but little G here, little Master G wants to talk to the big G and say, what we're doing. How are we doing this? And so I've got a lot of documents I've downloaded for weddings and ceremonies and legal agreements, pre-agreements, property. We've looked at the interstate probate, intestacy, and such dangers there. Assets, sons and daughters, schools, private, public schools, private property, mixing in contracts, assumptions, presumptions, constructed trusts. It's really got me in the mood today. So you're going to get a little presentation of which I'm quite proud of. It's taken from many and various places. The .com is where this secondary tier of the Educational Masters Sovereign Guild workshop, we've passed the foundational level, we're going on to the intermediate level now, continuing on. So this is just a little bank holiday hurrah for us, man on land, trade private, and amongst the seas of Caesar and the Club of Rome. Administrative issues will end up as Mr. Vine there made a point of saying, parking tickets, he said, and if you don't look at them, and it raise out of control and this, that, the other, and before long you end up with the fees and a court summons, and you can end up in court, he said. You can end up in court and in prison for non-payment of a... I'm like, yeah, you can if you're ignorant to whom you are and knowing thyself and language and instrumentation and public and private and trustees and executives and duties and obligations. Yes, Jeremy, you can end up there. But law, natural law, hermetic principles, 7 of them, that's where it comes in. I can only say Mark Pazio, video 206 onwards, and his natural law presentations will help you understand the Kabbalion. And I'm going to go through now. I'm going to help you out. All right. We've come a long way. And that's your introduction. Who, what, why, where, and when. Thank you for joining. I will just have a quick check if I can do this without crashing my systems and say, yes, I too, live trying again. Albert came on. Andy of the Warden Farm. Albert came on. Jerry. All right, and 26 watching now. 2 thumbs up, please. If you are that way inclined, give me a like. If I make you smile, if I bring something to you, if you like my energy, my cup runneth over. I'm trying to balance it. I'm giving everybody a drink who wants one. And the family, we're going to touch base later. Myself, Kevin, Andy, a hangout will be arranged. G-Star, I'm touching base with at 3 p.m. I've spoke to all the fam. Brother Barnsley I will be in touch with in a bit. Emails I'm up to date with, and I'm very excited. I'm taking the day off trade today to present this to you and to bring you this up to date critical preview of what's coming next and where we're going and where you need to think about and why. So if you keep commenting, give me your feedback. And yes, don't take my word for this. It was done early morning up to 1 a.m. ish, 1:30 maybe, near enough to shy on 2. Actually finished up at 9:30 again and on with it before a day of admin and tradesman tomorrow. So let's go. Let's see what I can do with you. Public and Private is the title of this little document that G-Star is going to be making look very sexy and putting on all of the bits and bobs. But this is the raw David to paper, and then G-Star gets bits like this and works on it, and you'll see it transform into other such, fine documents as the first 3 that we gave you through the Masters Guild key competence. Natural law is the philosophical basis of law, God's law in brackets. And then I've put the 7 principles. I've given you Proverbs, chapter and verse 9 and 1. And then underneath, I've also put Kabbalion. That's the amazing publication that we recently found. It's up on the .com. I will talk about that at length later. Thoth, Hermes Trismegistus. I saw on the news, Euro News yesterday, they found another tomb in Egypt, 4,500 years old. There's a Viper Films video out that's about a week old. It says the secret of Thoth and Osiris, Isis, Nubus. Oh, that is dark. That's a proper dark, choppy uppy. Set's in there, the god of destruction. I want to talk about that as well. That really is integral. So much synchronicity. I'm beside myself, as you can tell. Moving on with focus and direction for this presentation, the Kabbalion. Just one word. The topic in itself just gets me fired up. The halls of Amente and the Hermetic principles, just incredible. So positive law is the working via the authority of the state. That would be man-made law, and trustees of man-made law would be incorporated into that, and it's highlighted there where I am on the document for you. Substantive law, to the left now, even though it's highlighting all of that block. Substantive law, the part of the law that creates, defines and regulates rights, including, for example, law of contract, torts, wills and real property, the essential substance of rights under law. Then over here to the right, we have the procedural law that prescribes the procedures and methods for enforcing rights, duties and obtaining redress, like, for instance, in a lawsuit. Distinguished from law that creates, defines or regulates rights. And another one here underneath procedural law, remedial law. Remedial, remedy, look, remed, il, rem, ed, il, remedial, obviously, yes, first, let me highlight it properly, and then you've got medial, remedial, remedial, remedial. So then again, can't wait for Josh and the presentations we're going to come up with by the end of this year. There's going to be some fireworks. Obviously there, then you've got me in the middle, and then dial. So remedial law, whichever way you see it, interpret it and look at it, it is called remedial, which affords a remedy as a remedial statute, or one which is made to supply some defects or abridge some superfluities of the common law. The term remedial statute is also applied to acts which give new remedy. Public law. Examples are, this isn't exclusively limited to, these are just some scribbles and some trees and directions, and they will be expanded upon, and they are to be considered work in progress and continuous improvement, and direction and structuring will go on until we're happy with it and you're happy with it. We'll start with public law. On the left here, public law, the body of law dealing with the relations between private individuals and government, with the structure and operation of the government itself. That would be such things as constitutional, criminal, administrative law, all together. Okay, so the government deals with private individuals, and the government with the structure and operation of the government itself. Yes, so that's your public law, your Westminster, Whitehall, and Statute Code Act, Australia, America, Commonwealth, and such places, Penal Code, state felony charges, these kind of state trooper, public misdemeanors, felonies, charges, that angle. Examples would be for the public law then, so this is where we need to work on a little area of the constitutional law, the criminal law, administrative law, public international law and tax laws. And then private law over on the right here, private law, the body of law dealing with private persons and, look at that, their property or relationships. Private law, what examples of private law? When I told you before about the officer, the seaman, the admiralty, the land, air and water, not when I've told you, when we've talked about and informed that there's trade and commerce and the public and the private and the duties and obligations and admiralty, maritime, UCC, ecclesiast, court, persons, public and private persons. Then you might have trade, commercial, public, telephone call, letters, offices, agents, departments for working with the government or corporations in the public that have agents operating for them, and them agents interface with you on a corporate, unified, uniformed commercial code, business, banking system of which you know nothing about. And then you go up one more and you've got the air area where the ecclesiast trusts and things like that would live, and that would be the trustee, beneficiary, settlor, grantor, differences within the realms of. So private law, trusts agreement, contract law, all right. And then you have your public law. These are where you've got your the borders, and the seas would be parted in the middle there, and there wouldn't need to be a divide in the tree. And your private law is as I've explained there, your trusts or any and/or agreements and/or contract law that are not in the constructed statutory form. These are done correctly. England and Wales, non-United Kingdom. So the public law, I can even put like United Kingdom, and private law would be England and Wales. Anybody wants to, contest and speak up and add, and that's fine. That's what we're here for. That's what we'll be doing later. Tort law. Man shall not suffer a tort. Torts, considered to be private because of the remedial ways of which they are, dealt with, the ways in which they're dealt with, and the way that the remedy. Status law, status, standing, and capacity. Property law, not all property is public. As I've just said, your blood is private, yeah. Man's sons and daughters, private. Your houses, for flats and so forth, they can be in public, they can be in private. Family law, always standard, private, yes. Private international law, Julian Assange, big up your bad self, hey. About the public international law, the private international law, secret, shout going out to the United Kingdom Security Council when we're talking private and public. Yeah, shout going out to the newspaper that had that leak and what they did. You see in the public and the private, rules of the game, stay with clean hands, in honour. Public and private, never mix. As a brother Wordsmith says, oil and water. There is only credit, all right, when we talk about money, things like that, and the debts and credit and debt. Pardon me. Stay out of court. Do not participate when summoned. When I write that, I've written that just hastily. What I mean is, are you the defendant? No, I am not the defendant. We are not the defendant. You see, you go from the singular to the pure plural. We. I have more to give you. This isn't the end, but that's your basic skeleton of of what we're going to develop for you for this secondary tier of the masters, of which you all are masters. It is my honor to tell you. Now we're going to present some more. Let's hope this works. Rolling on. I'm on a roll. All right. Let's just take a moment. Let my systems catch up, and we're going to go to your comments, but let me keep the flow. Oh, don't give me the black screen. 1 minute. Patience, say a prayer. Yes, we're up. These are screenshots from a video. I will put the video in the description afterwards. I can't for the life of me remember it, but you will get that as well. These aren't ones that I've compiled, but we are allowed to show them, source it. I'm not claiming this because I haven't written these, but these will do to help use the presentation. It was a secured party creditors of new video of this month that I was watching the other day that I made sure I made some references from. Let me screen share this in 1 minute. Bosh. I'm presenting to everybody. Yeah, screen share application. What we doing? Picture. It doesn't screen share pictures. Wait. We have a problem, Houston. Maybe it does. Shares my main screen. All right then. Doesn't share the picture viewer. Stand by. Yes, I know you are. You can't see that, can you? It'll take a minute because you've got a minute or two delay. Well, no, 30 seconds. Right there. That's quite annoying. Open with. Here we go. I have a plan. I'm not going to open every picture like this. Maybe I've missed a trick. Ah, present to everybody. That's the one I missed. Okay. Back then. Back to the main picture. It's Bank Holiday Monday. Yeah, man, have a break. Let's see if we can get this on the picture view for you now. Civil and criminal law. It doesn't matter that it says US law, it's all, you know, civil and criminal. Common law, the codes, systems are different. Civil is civil, criminal is criminal. And what have we got written here? A civil suit involves a dispute between private parties. A criminal suit involves a violation of a government's penal laws. Well, a criminal offence, well, we'd argue that a crime, criminal suit involves a violation. So your council tax and gas safety infraction there would be a crime, considered a crime, even though there is no injured physical human body there. It would be a criminal offence governable by these statutory codes to the assumptions and presumptions upon your person, even you know, the public person and the private person. We're going to touch upon that, so don't stress. Okay. Difference between who has been harmed, individual versus estate. All right, and types of remedies differ. Compensation versus prison, fines, or probation. So the components we need to expand upon of the civil and the criminal law, and where you're at, how to recognize that. So if I would argue that if you personally, personam, blood and flesh, holy trinity, mind, body and soul, have not hurt man, then it is not for you. It is an administrative issue of which is governable by the consent of the governed. Now, the consent is not given by the self-governing private man. You would implement the instrumentation, but what we have here is the Club of Rome on a default position that won't listen with the arbitrary positions and systems and languages. And so bear with me, we move on. Don't panic. This has got a structure. All right, that's just an example. That's all it is of how it simply is looked at in the civil and criminal, like contract law, yes, and things. Public law versus private law. Let me see if this one also pops up. More coffee? Yes, it does. For example, public law is concerned with the structure of government, the duties and power of officials, and the relationship between the individual and the state, e.g., constitutional law, administrative law, regulation of public utilities, criminal law and procedure, and law relating to proprietary powers of the state and its political subdivisions. Private law is concerned with both substantive and procedural rules governing relationship between individuals, like families. Yes. E.g., the law of torts, contracts, property, wills, inheritance, marriage, divorce, adoption, family, relationships, personal by the man to the woman, property, sons and daughters, access, yeah, your torts and your contracts. Okay, moving on. Public law versus private law. This one is not the one we're going to use in the publication. This is just a quick demonstration for those that are eager, bored on the bank holiday, frustrated, wondering, and this is what is in our mind and where we're going. Public law versus the private law. Law would be in the middle there of the purple in the middle, and over to your left you will be seeing the contract law, private law in the red pinky square. And from that private law, some examples, not limited to all, but some contract law, tort law, property law, and then public law, criminal, administrative law, and constitutional law. A trust relationship involving a settlor, a trustee, a beneficiary, the property, the legal title, the beneficial title, any relationship of trustee to beneficiary, fiduciary, trustee relationship, all there. Settlor to trustee, transfer of legal title. The settlor has no residual rights or interests. This is the trust set up for, you would argue there, that would be an express private trust, typical setup of what's going on with the property, new titles, and that's what we'll expand upon and make some animations for that for you to work through when I speak to G-Star very shortly. Today, later, we'll get feedback from you, Kevin, Andy, etc. Matthew, 22 of the King James Version, 15 to 22. We're going to start with chapter 22, verse 15, and we're going to need you to find this, or to get your Bibles, or to reference this later on. This was taken from a video that I'd seen recently this month. I'm going to have to credit it later in the credits, but very interesting because it rung true to what Brother Wordsmith says about the setup here of then when the Pharisees, I'm going from verse 15, and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. And they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know thou art true, and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the person of men. Okay, number 17, that was 15 and 16. And verse 17, tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? 18, but Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? 19, shew, S-H-W is show or show, shew me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. And he saith unto them, whose is this image and superscription? They say unto him, Caesar's. They say unto, then saith he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. That was 21. 22. When they had heard these words, they marveled and left him. They went their way. Let's go back again. Verse 15. They went to the, instead of Pharisees, government, and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. That's so Pharisees is government, and entangle him in his talk is the rights to arrest there. Imagine that you would now replace entangled him in his talk with, you have the right to remain silent. You have the, and they read you your rights, so using the information against you in a court of law, and they entangle you in your talk. 16, and they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, that one. So, and they sent out into him their disciples, let's call them agents, and they sent out unto him their agents with the Herodians, saying, Master, 17, tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? Just think of that as taxes. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute, taxes unto Caesar or not? And Jesus perceived their wickedness, okay? Wickedness, that's right, and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Yeah, why do you prod me and poke me? Why do you goad me? You know the answer. Show me the coin. And they brought to him a penny. Julius Caesar was the first man to what? To coin money. Yes, remember that, what we found out there as well. He peed a lot of people off. So this is a new type of era, reset of things happening here in the, what does he say, Lado in Australia, Justinian setup. So show me the money. They brought him a penny. What's on the penny? Caesar. Well, that's Caesar's, property. Give it back to Caesar. You are God's property. You stay with God. Boom. Yeah. Smithy, we love you. Thank you for that. And the video that was in, I just thought that is just solid synchronicity. Solid synchronicity. We like that. Indeed, we do. The Eightfold Path, going into Hermes, Buddha, Enki, Thoth, the Halls of Amenti, the Hermetic Principles, Mark Pazio, Natural Law, Divinity, Atom, all is Atom. It's too much. Sept, Anubis, Amun-Ra, Isis, Osiris, Buddha. Who else have we got? The Vedic, Vishnu, Dharma, Brahma. Yeah, the three everywhere, the Eightfold Path, the seven Hermetic Principles, and then the one to hold them all together would be the eighth there as well. And the Eightfold Path, one, right knowledge. Yes, right good. No, two, right intent. Three, right speech. Four, right conduct. Five, right livelihood. Six, right effort. Seven, right mindfulness. 8, right concentration. I'll bring you some more on that with G-Star when I get some more time, but that is a key point to look at. They're all right as well. Right ascension, meridian, your rights end where mine begin, my rights end where your rights begin. Right, the righteousness, the word right in itself, ram. Knowledge, intent, speech, conduct, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, concentration. All right. You've also got wisdom from Mother Nature, from Proverbs. And these would be the seven Hermetic principles that are disguised within the Bible there. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Yes. That's some more there. The Kabbalion. What do I need you to search for? The 42 Principles of Mart. All right, I'm going to read these out to you. It's going to be my pleasure. What time are we on? The Queen is back soon and my battery is good. We got time. It is going well. 42 Principles of Mart. 1. I have not done iniquity. 2. I have not robbed with violence. 3. I have not stolen. 4. I have done no murder. I have done no harm. 5. I have not defrauded offerings. 6. I have not diminished obligations. 7. I have not plundered the neteru. 8. I have not spoken lies. 9. I have not uttered evil words. 10. I have not caused pain. 11. I have not committed fornication. 12. I have not caused shedding of tears. 13. I have not dealt deceitfully. 14. I have not transgressed. Whoop, whoop. Warning. 15. I have not acted guilefully. 16. I have not laid waste to the ploughed land. 17. I have not been an eavesdropper. 18. Julian, it's all right to eavesdrop when you're doing it for the good like that. I'm telling you, when you're saving blood and lives, that's not so bad. When you're an eavesdropper for your own gain and others' misfortune and misendeavors, then you shall not eavesdrop. 18. I have not set my lips in motion against any man. Wow. 19. I have not been angry and wrathful except for a just cause. That's what I have to explain to you. I'm sorry about, that's why I apologize and say I'm sorry about this, but I've got a lot of passion and energy, and this has really annoyed me, and it's hard to watch others bleed and suffer and allow blind walking into landmines when there's a path that you can go through that you won't step on a landmine, but because you're blind, you're all wandering around stepping on landmines, and we get angry. Older Hay example, public enemy number one. Yeah. 20, I have not defiled the wife of any man. 20, what? Yeah, well, listen to the music, Radio 1, Capital FM, all of the major pop, TV, Masonic, all of it, defiled the wife of any man. They like to talk about having 3 women, disrespecting none of them. You've got Ariana Grande, I like men, I like girls. What? I like boys, I like girls. Innocently saying it like that. I have not, yeah, that gets me. You've heard my comments on that. So, number 20 is in serious danger, gender fluidity. Not that it's an issue for others to correct and assert their status, standing, and capacity, but the nature of which it is done beggars belief sometimes, okay? That's what we're saying. When you program man to do it, and that's totally different. 21, I have not been a man of anger. Now then, 21, hold up. Yeah, halfway through. That's a poignant thing that's your breathing, that's your focusing, that's where we're at. That's the evolution of our intellectual consciousness movement that we're at now. Renaissance of natural law and the principles of many. 22, I have not polluted myself. 23, I have not caused terror. Well, I played you the other day on what's going off. There's a lot of terror on terra firma. 24, I have not burned with rage. Wow, look at that in itself. All those out there on the cement, the sea, the mind sea. Yes, remember that one. 24. 25, I have not stopped my ears against the words of right and truth. 26, I have not worked grief. 27, I have not acted with insolence or insolence. It's got the sun in that one. I have not stirred up strife. 28, 29, I have not judged hastily. No man has the right to judge, all created in the image equal. 30, I have not sought for distinctions. 31, I have not multiplied words exceedingly. I'm guilty of that. Me, you're guilty. David, take note. 3 and 1, 3 and 1, 1 and 3. I have not multiplied words exceedingly. I didn't even put that there. It was actually there. 32, I have not done neither harm nor ill. 33, I have not caused the king violation of laws. I have not cursed the king, i.e. violation of laws. 34, I have not fouled the water. Well, no, I haven't, but that's happening. 35, I have not spoken scornfully. 36, I have never cursed the Neteru. 37, I have not stolen. 38, I have not defrauded the offerings of the Neteru. Neteru, king, what's that? I forget. I did make a note of that and I've lost it. New word, find it. Your Neteru. King, city, queen, hometown. I have not plundered the offerings of the blessed dead. I have 39. 40, I have not filched the flood of the infant. Oh, why would you? Filched. I have not filched the blood of the infant, the food, not blood. See, I have not filched the food of the infant. 41, I have not sinned against the Nita of my native town. 42, I have not slaughtered with evil intent the cattle of the Nita. Netta probably will be written. That's some government type triangles that I'm going to put into play, where you've got constitution, positive law. This one's set out for America and somewhat Australia, the colonial types, constitutions and law, India and so places, and wow, there's many. Singapore and the UK, the port of Singapore there. Look who manages a lot of that. Was an interesting thing to find out randomly the other day in a chat and to bring back up. how the commerce is going off there. But UK would be, you know, positive law. You'd have the instead of the White House, you'd have what? You'd have the monarchy. You'd have the Queen. You know, you've got the governance there of the Queen. Then you've got what? You've got 10 Downing Street. You've got the Theresa May working underneath, and then you've got the Supreme, because you've got the constitutional parliamentary houses, Lords, Westminster, Whitehall, the Queen, and then we have the Royal Courts of Justice and so forth as well. So you'd have the judicial, executive, legislative translated over, and Congress and so forth would be the Houses of Parliament, Houses of Lords and so forth with regards to representative and senates on the PON side, President, Vice President, Executive, you know, and Queens and, you know, Vice President, Prime Minister. As we've said before, when you have these corporations and these, what do we call them now? Public, commercial, uniform commercial codes operating in these businesses, when you put in a executive director, chief exec, the you know, presidents of corpses, presidents aren't generally voted and elected. They are appointments of the business and the nature of it all. So this will come further on into the expansion of the education that we're going to go forward with the expansion. It's quite annoying that we have to do so many countries with so many different codes, and that's why we won't focus on the constitutional and this, that, the other. Like other videos will bring you key components of your little articles, constitutionals and reforms and bills. And you know, to us, there is the God house of, there is the Queen and the monarchies, and there are the governments, which are presidents and prime ministers, and then there's us, and they all have been colonialized and have a linkage back to the principality of the ruling monarchy. So yeah, secured party creditor is excellent, and that's basically in essence what you're looking to do. Ultimately, to go private and everything you claim of right, and things would seal that down. To be blatantly blunt and you know, not going technical, that's what you're looking at. Management of the estate to control and ownership in the private of the estate. Yeah, there's a lot of words that I've missed out there, several thousand, but just no, you know. All right, so where we've said before, canons and controversies in law, and every controversy must be you know, dealt with, and you can't ignore it. Ignorance is no defense, and the assumptions, the presumptions, the protocols, the pre-action and everything. So it ties in with cause and effect also, which is your natural law, and the laws of these and the laws of the natural are kind of intertwined, but they are so far apart. Yeah, I know, but they're not electrical, invisible, you know, constructs of governance throughout the realm, universal, between, you know, eons of light years and time. But laws, canons, maxims, what am I talking here? Cause and effect. Yeah, their system, their Roman Club of Rome, go home, you know, runs on certain parameters. Now, because they have set it up like this, when you understand it and learn it, I won't defend it at all, but it is an all right system that they've put in place. But not everyone's going to watch this video. Not everyone's going to learn what you're learning. Not everyone's going to read the books and go through the due diligence and discovery. So they know that this game, no matter if we come on YouTube and chat about it, still won't get unhooked or broadcast or sorted out en masse by billions, yeah? Because it just won't happen. There are 144,000 consciousness, maybe, you know, the point where if you reach that critical point of fulcrum, leverage point would be that it would be enough to keep forward, and there would never ever be going any back. The 144,000 that are allegedly waking up to bring this information and help support, promote, do it, aren't enough. It simply has. But we are getting to the point of the end, as I put it, and the cause and effects. Yes, it does happen according to law. These rules and these Roman systems they've put into place, and the laws and the blood and the fighting, and you know, they've actually worked for this. They have worked for it, and it isn't going to be brought down. It isn't going to be changed. As sad as it is to say, there isn't going to be any kind of international or judicial or humanitarian or independent, not unless we all got this we all had this level of information to where I, Andy, Kev, Josh, you scribers at the channels are at, and we could articulately go out there and constructively deconstruct it and put another one up within a matter of hours, weeks, days, months at the most, with integrated intellectual, intelligent mainframes where we went mobile and had these media handsets to control everything and inform us, and we made it a universal language of which we all understood, the same as the mathematics, the same as the science, and we went that way. So it doesn't matter how much we go on about it, it's not going to change. You are the ones that need to change, and you are the ones that are walking the path of, and this cause and effect. I used to blame um, everyone but myself, the system, life, and it was me. I was doing it. I was the one. It was my ways. It was my thinking. It was my vibration. It was other. It wasn't other people. It wasn't the government. And the government, once you understand it, I've done an amazing, not job. Hold up, no, it's still me. I haven't been cloned overnight. They've done an amazingly intricate system where they remain in honor and we live in sin when they haven't told us how it is. And it's taken me quite a while to get my head around that. The Club of Rome and the seas of Caesar and the public commerce is where we need to stay out of. And that's where they've caused these confusing areas for us to sin into. And if there is a cause there and everything happens according to law, chance is but a name for law not recognized except when you're in the chancery courts, all right? There are many places of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Now, when we say law, we mean all law, universal laws. It cannot be repeated too often that the Constitution is a limitation on the government, comma, not on private individuals. Boom. Just compensation. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. That's a reference there that I found in the video that I was watching the other day. US Constitution Amendment. Yes, it's got the number for you. Private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. All right, that's when it is classed actually as private property, not what we think is private property that they assume is theirs, and titles and things. So real private property. Individuals or private corporations shall not be authorized to take property for public use without just compensations first made to the owners. Now, as we're in a system which is all paper-based, and where you think you can stand there and shout that property, blood, asset, son and daughter, iron horse, bricks and mortar, field, intellectual property, or whatever it is, value of, is yours. You can't prove it if you haven't got the right system in place. That's not right. That is not right at all. Yeah, and there's certain ways you need to get into that to go, private and public, public and private. And that's the end of the presentation that I've got up to so far. Okay, I have included everything that I needed to in there. There is a need for me. I'm going to stop present something to you. What can I do? Let's leave that on. We'll leave that on there. We'll present that. No, I can't. We'll just go back to the screen. Here we go. I will find, let me get into my history, and I will put into the description now before we end the cast, because I have a habit of forgetting and rushing off and doing other jobs. Oh, have a look at this one as well while we're in here. Then let's get back to the chat. Control and V. That's a scene from a video on Tube entitled "Render unto God the things that are God's," Jesus film clip. Okay, that's your first little thing that I'd like to give you. Oh, I've got loads of tabs open. We need to carry on sharing. All right, hang on. There's a little bit more to. I forgot my tabs. Wait. Caesar's grip. Right, a PDF that I'm uploading to the .com. Let's share this. Come on, don't let me down. Thank you. Thank you, technology. In Caesar's Grips by Peter Kershaw is the PDF document that I found here on on a site that was, I forget now what it was, in Caesar's Grip First Edition. This is not a shadow of right in the general government to intermeddle with religion. There is not a shadow of right in the general government to intermeddle with religion. This subject is for the honour of America, perfectly free and unshackled. The government has no jurisdiction over it. Quoted by James Madison. Right, wait, let me just get the screens up to share, present to everyone. That should come up there any second. This is, I'm not going through it all. I've got a few tabs to go through. So let me just get it to the top so you can see. It's called In Caesar's Grip. It was recommended by whoever it was. I'll tell you in a minute. By the time this cast is over. History now. There we go. Back to Caesar's Grip. Yeah. Come on, I need that channel because I will forget it. High Frequency Radio. The video was called, let's get the link. Do you really understand the private side remastered? I'm putting the link into the chat now. This is where you'll see where I'm coming from. Yeah, it's not, I need to point out that others in other places are saying what we've been saying and that we're all on the same path and it's the same technology, the same either side of the realms and the ponds. Oh my days, we've got a massive slowdown. Wait. You get that comment in, look at the bottom, check that it's there. And where's my PDF gone? This way. Got the link, yeah. Sorry about the display. Gosh. So that's interesting for Americans to have a look at with regards to how you look at amendments, constitution, the public types of law that we've put there now. And, you know, dear Mr. Caesar, I'd like to be a Christian. I'm not going to go through all of the publication because copyright infringement and so forth. This is, you know, dangerous waters. They're looking to shut anybody down for any reason. So, yeah, I've got to be careful what I do, but for news and reporting and the honourability under the covenant of the big G there, I think we'll be all right, considering the nature and the complexity of that. Not so much really relevant for, where's the contents there, other than study and reference. Okay, it's not key and essential to have this document. It's just interesting to see the wicked beareth rule, you know, the religion of public policy, carrying out governmental approved policies, subsidizing religion, you know, very, very crazy. This one, the Garden Court Chambers.co.uk. The public trust doctrine's role in post-Brexit Britain. And this is from 31st of March 17. An article by Mark Willers, a Queen's Counsellor of Garden Court Chambers, and Emily Shirley of our Children's Trust for the UK Environmental Law Association at a glance. We got a nice little read up here about leaving the European Union, and the supervision of the Court of European Union is likely to lead to a protection in the UK. However, it's possible that ancient common law principle known, where am I? Yeah, look, as the public trust doctrine, PTD, everybody, could be revived by our domestic courts and used to hold the UK government to account. This article argues that now is the time for lawyers and judges to revitalise the public trust doctrine, take special note, new word, so that there is proper oversight and supervision of decisions taken by the UK government. When they say UK government, these ones here at gardencourtchambers.co.uk, they mean the private, yes, corporative body, the body corps, yeah, the body corporate body, corpus of the business, not the UK government, which is the other part, the houses of, you know, and etc. which affect the environment as well as its environmental policy and legislation. So the PTD originates from Justinian law. Again, another website that says what we're saying and what others have said. The PTD originates from Justinian law. Air, running water, the sea and seashore were incapable of ownership but open to public use. The state was understood as holding these vital resources on trust for its citizens, men, yeah, not citizens, but men, citizens at the minute, yeah, but argumentatively, when you go back and sort it out, you go from citizen to man, public to private. Certain natural and cultural resources were considered to be preserved for public use, and the government was charged with protecting and maintaining these resources for that purpose. So, garden, court chambers, I'll put the link in the chat now. Forgive the screen flex. There you go. Get rid of that one. That'll save that one for me. Public Trust Doctrine on Wikipedia.org. Origins. The ancient laws of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian held that the sea, the shores of the sea, and the air and running water was common to everyone. The seashore, later defined as the waters affected by the ebb and flow of the tides, could not be appropriated for private use and was open to all. This principle became the law in England as well as centuries later. The Magna Carta further strengthened public rights at the instance of English nobles' fishing weirs, which obstructed free navigation, were to be removed from rivers. These rights were further strengthened by later laws in England, yes, note the name of the landmass, and subsequently became part of the common law of the United States. The Supreme Court first accepted, here's where I'm reading from, look, first accepted the public trust doctrine in Martin versus Waddles Leasy in 1842, confirming it several decades later in Illinois Central Railroad versus Illinois. Chapter 146 US 387 in 1892. In the latter case, the Illinois legislature had granted an enormous proportion of the Chicago harbor to the Illinois Central Railroad. A subsequent legislature sought to revoke the grant, claiming that the original grant should not have been permitted in the first place. The court held that common law public trust doctrine, boom. I know it's Wikipedia. It's just we have to move forward from. But in the instance of, and the treatise of that we've got on the .com, you will find you can link this up. The court held that the common law public trust doctrine prevented the government from alienating the public right to lands under navigable waters, navigable waters, except in the case of very small portions of land which would have no effect on free access or navigation. The public trust applies to both waters influenced by the tides and the waters that are navigable. In fact, the public trust also applies to the natural resources, mineral or animal, contained in the soil and water over those public trust lands, mineral and energy, wealth, resources, minerals, energy, wealth. There you go. That's the doctrine of the public trust for you all. Law of obligations. The common law of obligations was mentioned to myself and Andy not so long ago. I'd like you all to consider reading a little bit into that, please, as well, to understand a little bit more of what Justinian first defines an obligation, obligatio, in his Institutiones book 3, section 13. Oh my God, more threes and 1 and 3, 2 threes and a 1. As a legal bond, which we are bound by necessity of performing some act according to the laws of our state. He further separates the law of obligations into contracts, delicts, quasi-contracts, and quasi-delicts. Nowadays, obligation as applied under civilian law means legal tie, vinculum, vinculum, Ioris, Iuris, vinculum, Ioris. by which one or more parties, obligants, are bound to perform or refrain from performing specific conduct, presentation. Thus, an obligation encompasses both sides of the equation, both the obligator's duty to render presentation and the obligee's right to receive presentation. It differs from the common law concept of obligation, which only encompasses the duty aspect. Every obligation has 4 essential requisites, otherwise known as the elements of obligation. They are the obligor, obligant, duty bound to fulfill the obligation. He who has a duty, obligor, the obligee, obligant, entitled to demand the fulfillment of the obligation, he who has a right. 3, the subject matter, the presentation, the performance to be tendered. And number 4, a legal bond, the vinculum juris, the cause that binds or connects the obligants to the presentation. Very interesting. Political question in American constitutional law. I'll put this in the chat before I forget. I was just telling you to have a look at it. That's all something that we found on the research, and yeah, I got more here from a .com, Hart Publishing, the common law of obligations, about the common law of obligations from different sources. I'd like you to just know what I've been looking at and where it's at and why. Public Law Project, what did I find here? What is public law? publiclawproject.org.uk. Public bodies such as central and local government have to obey the law. The type of law governing the conduct of public bodies is known as public law. There you go, everybody. This is just to reiterate what I've done in that diagram before and what we found on videos and what's there. So public law principles mean that the public bodies act lawfully, rationally, fairly, and compatibly with the human rights of those affected by their actions. The International Covenant of Human Rights, there you go. Where a public body acts unlawfully, there are a number of ways that those affected can change that behavior or decision. Those include complaining using public bodies, complaints procedures or ombudsman, exercising rights of appeal to tribunal if such rights exist in relation to the particular decision to be challenged, such as in our brother Kevin and the DWP and welfare benefits cases. All right, we're already on with that, and we're showing you about that and how we do that and what we do and how we use the system, and we go from the land to the water but remain tied on the land. Asking a public body to review its decision, mandatory reconsideration is what that's called there, and through a process called judicial review, or we'll go to the HMCTS, Her Majesty's Courts and Tribunal Services, and do that ourselves and arrange the judicial intervention and subsequent man's claims going into equitable remedy. Once we've exhausted the at-law public levels, we then looking to go to Parliament. Looking to go into equity, because we're going from public to private, not Parliament. I've just read separation of powers, executive government, power to put law into action, judiciary, power to make judgments on law, and Parliament, power to make and change the law. Judiciary, powers, all right, inalienable. No, it's unalienable, unalienable. Inherent powers. I have an inherent rights to breathe air. You all have an inherent right to breathe air and to have some peace and quiet, to have your mental sanity, to have the right of which God bestowed upon the Creator, the Lord Almighty. You know, what Big G wanted for man, you have them inherent rights. The powers there are inherent to the government. We have unalienable and inherent stuff. So it's come from your inheritance and how you inherit that. Just to get that reiterated out there. Something that private law versus public law. Another little, did I put that link in there about what is public law? I don't know. We'll chuck it in just to make sure. Boom. All right, public law versus private law versus public law. Another little separate linking for you, so we can reference it for news reporting reasons. Comparison charts. Right, here we go. Private law applies to relationships between individuals in a legal system, e.g. contracts and labour laws. Public laws applies to relationship between an individual and the government, e.g. criminal law. Private law governs relationships between individuals, such as the law of contracts and the law of torts. Public law, the relationship between individuals and the state governments, in the public there, public state. There's subdivisions of private law, civil law, labour law, commercial law, corporate law, competition law, and family law would be in there as well. Tax over for your public, constitutional, administrative, and criminal. Criminal is if you are in the private, you will be subject to the public common law as well. You're not immune to that at all. The laws of the natural universe as well. Other terms: common law in Canada and much of the US. Private law is called common law in Canada and much of the US. And public law has got no other terms in anywhere. So we'd argue a little bit on that, but not right now at this moment. Contents: private law versus public law. You've got a definition, you've got subdivisions, example and references there, even a video to have a look at. Now I want to take you to Black's Law 4th edition, and I'd like you to look at with me, wow, so many things. Public interest is where we're going, and I've got a lot that I could bring up here actually, but public interest, something in which the public, the community at large, has some pecuniary is money, as I learned from the video over day, new word for David. Interest or some interest by their legal rights or liabilities are affected. It does not mean anything so narrow as mere curiosity or as in the interest of the particular localities which may be affected by the matters in question. State versus Crockett, blah, blah, blah. Public permission, it's interesting. The public lands is there. I was looking at public interest as well, public interest, public convenience, public interest, capital gains. And that was from archive.org. I'll put it in the link. I've been using this for a while, this site. It's very good. It doesn't very often let me down. Enjoy that. And Russian Tsar. I couldn't spell Russian Tsar. The Caesar. The wordplay for the title there of the C's. I have got an amazing amount of contact to do this afternoon and touch base, and I will be sorting out the hangout for later, probably about 7 p.m. with Smithy, Kevin. I'm going to touch base with those two, Josh, Barnsey, Smithy, Kevin, a few emails, and that'll be me done today. Into tradesmanship tomorrow, and these publications and further work and thousands of missing words that I haven't given you today will be entered into the stage 2 publications that we have. I've already given you some. I've written you quite a bit down and presented that in video format. So yes, stand by, bear with us, and let me just check over here before I go to your comments. Ow. Uploaded the sign, answered the messages. Some, quite a bit to catch up with, but all is good. It brought you the bankruptcy. Yeah, that was what was that video I did for you? Foreign corpse, belligerent corpse, codes and statutes. The answer to Brexit in a few pages. Yes, liability. So whilst we're all running around saying one thing and another, it's actually, there is a system there that's working well, and if we was to wake up and claim it, it looks like it would be all right. And not everybody's going to wake up and claim it. Not everyone's going to incorporate and know this knowledge, unfortunately, as much as everybody should. They've designed it that way. The house wins 9 times out of 10, and unfortunately for us, our family somewhat is going to be left behind. We have so much more to put into this. So you're going to go to your comments though, and that's been put in as well. Back to me. I'll keep on the laptop so I can go faster. Hello to the 30, 16 thumbs up. That's nearly half of you. Must have done well there then. Thank you. Honour and a privilege. I think I got to Eltel, Jerry. Live trying again. Hello, yes. Albert, John. Came on. Lux. Yes, councils are private. Indeed they are. Everything is a tort. Indeed it is. What was that now? The tort. What did this website that I found? Tort. Court. So tort division. TORT. Tort division. Let me find this for you. Search tort division. There's an interesting website about contact us. Tort division. I think they are private and like splspro.com. Let me just see if it's the one that I can find. I did send a few links out yesterday. Tort division. The planet to save the world remastered. US prosecutors have too much power. These are some of their recent posts. Are you free? Freedom means you are unobstructed in living your life as you choose. Anything less is a form of slavery. Wayne Dyer. Freedom from servitude. If you are not willing to learn, no one can help. Yeah, this is echoing what I was just saying. If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. Here we go. I did chuckle when I found this by accident. Thanks, Steve. Reminded me of this little site. Aye. Thank you for the link, Albert. If I know BWP. Okay, yes, you carry on with that chat. Trying again. Came on, John. Clive. Sorry, late had to do the shopping. It's my better. Oh, good lad. Legendary. One love to all the fam, tribe, scribe. Nice one, Lee of the Red Path. Thank you for the share. That means you care. Much love to you. Came on. I like that. I agree that the trustee administrates and the trustee can be the settler. They are different titles within the trust. I like this chit chat on a bank holiday Monday. Stick that in your pipe, Vine. Neteru, Arset, Eset, Semek, and Anubis. Neteru, oh, are you not? Oh, I. Neteru. Nice one. Look at the family going. This is amazing. We didn't used to have chats like this a year ago. I know. Club of Rome. Roman. Nice one, Die. And who is it from the tax vantage called the gunpoint? Even though what? Thank you for the link. Stupid free taxi. John's comments. All right, I'm nearly halfway down. We're making good progress. Nice one, Clive. Alan. Stephanie. Stay on Facebook, get my grandchildren. Okay. Yeah, that's it. There are other ways, but public man lives, private man is dead. What? Came on 8:30. What are you saying there? Public man is your all caps. And that's the dead one. And the private man is something I missed out. In a court. Yes, equity, man. We are the party. I am not the administrator. I am not the defendant. I am the here to help you administer these claims. Something like, as fast as we can, exponentially. Expelliarmus. No, that won't work. Exponentially. And yes, you see, now you're not being the all caps there. You're being something like the executive. You're being something like managing the estate. Yes, you've got a title, and you are going to let them know what that is. You don't claim that name, and you are there. In your paperwork as an officer of the court. There's bonds about the place. It's officers that can be presented. So. Living and dead, public and private, the courts, they can recognise private and they can recognise public. You can form a document with a thumbprint and an autograph on, and in that document, in the body of the text, it can have a capital name and it can have a little lowercase name separated by a semicolon. We could pass syntax grammar, and you could or even just grammar, and you separate the two lower names, and you put other such status, standing, and capacities, and that's how you would separate and remain private, public. And if you've put a thumbprint and an autograph, then that's telling them that there's a third identity there. So you've got three things at play within that documentation, have you not? You've got it autographed and thumbprinted. The man that reads that know what he'd be seeing there, all right? The pirates see, and the paparazzi, and the judgeship, yes, is looking at a document with an all caps name, a lowercase name, and a thumbprint and an autograph, possibly stamps and other such things. So, you know, he knows and we know, and the color of the pen, the significance, blue, red, you know, sizes of paper, four corner rules, dogma, glosser. We're on this. Bosh. You're very clever. Makes me happy in my heart. My heart smiles, even though I've got a lot to do. We're under strain. There's much going on. Issues with website, minimal, but I'm on that. I'm waiting for G to come back. He's not free till 3 today. So, yeah, put them in an email. These links you paste into chat. L, in a perfect world, yes. I'm going to collect these and put them on the .com. That's why I'm putting them here. I'm putting them here to save me later. So that will be done. Don't worry. Anybody that wants to collect the links for L and send them in, I'm sure they can be done. Moves far. Yeah, you watch what you do, L. Watch it on the replay, and then you just pause the screen. You'll get it there. All right, brother. We do what we can. Yeah, it is. Archive.org. That's the one. There we go. I've got everything I need from there now, so I can tell YouTube what I'm using, so they can go and shut them down and remove the links are in the chat, so you can go and grab it now and get it and get the links and see for yourself before anything weird happens. Or yes, you're welcome. URC, thank you. Bosh, I got learns today. We all do. We give love and thanks for the channels, the videos, you, the movement, the consciousness, the 144, the ones that have you know, helped us get this far, us collating and proving and referencing and sourcing and using, you know, due diligence, discovery, sacrificing. It's too much happening. I can't wait till we go solar, hydrogen, silver, organic, and legacy. Those are the key words on my mind at the minute. Further education and, you know, expansion on these points there is an amazing amount to go into. That was just an overall update, glossary, skeleton format for you to give you a little indication. Much to be done, all in good time. I've had a good 2 days rest, spent time with Anne-Marie and Yanka. It's been good. The phone's been turned off and I needed it. I'm 41 on the 9th, so Anons wise, 41 Anons, man's born day, be the 9th of May, so let this be a forewarning. I'm slowing down. I do not intend on going like this. I am tired. I'm going grey, getting backache. I'm having to tend to myself more than I used to. I admit it, universe. I am getting older. I cannot do what I used to do when I was 20. I cannot come in from 7 hours manual labor and sit there and speak to 10 to 20, you know, members and construct and get on and represent. We need to step up the game. And we are. Everything is coming into alignment, as I said, with Andy and Josh and Kevin and some others in private emails and chats. The ones that have offered to help, you will be appointed. You have been anointed, and you've seen and you've answered, and we are on that. Andy's email is not working. I've got to look at that with G-Star. There's so many little things to do, but the big things, you know, they're up there and out there. I'm going to be up till late today after my little catch-ups and admins, all that need to hear and communicate from me. I'm sorry, I'm having to take a bit of a slowdown and a break, and I'm tending to the emergency importance and then working my way through it. So yes, we'll sort it out, and yeah, we're going to expand accordingly. Very excited, and thank you all. Yes, public and private, going from the public to the private, and the benefits of that, the assumptions and the craziness of it all is not our doing, but enjoy. Thank you. And like I say, peace and love. I'm going to exit and shut this down, and then I'll be in touch with those names that I said. Much love. Thank you. Ciao, Bello.